coconut milk with beef and also butternut squash. And then I'm going to be adding it over rice and some spices. So I haven't cooked the beef, or the rice is currently cooking right now. But what I did do is I took my butternut squash and I cut it in pieces and cored it out. I put it face down on a baking sheet with some tin foil so it wouldn't stick and create a big mess. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scoop this out. I did put it in the oven at 350 for an hour. So I will have chunks of butternut squash that's already kind of pre-cooked and softened that I will be adding in. Oh gosh, that's like sticking to everything. But anyways, you're going to take the butternut squash. Like I said, I'm going to scoop it out so there's no skin. And I'll be doing that to all the pieces, and then I'm going to add this in with our beef. So we're going to have a butternut squash and beef with some spices. I'm going to be using more of like an Indian style spice. So I do have my quick reference sheet that I will have available. So if you want that quick reference sheet for the spices and marinades and everything else that I have that makes life so much easier in the kitchen, and you can literally take the same dishes and make them over again, all you need to do below is comment that you want that, and I can send it to you in a message or find out your email address and send it directly to you. Or you can send me an email. My email address is freedomchh@gmail.com, and just say that you want that quick kitchen reference sheet for spices and seasonings and marinades. Like I said, it makes your life so much easier. You don't have to think, oh my gosh, how do I make this? It's all there. So you can use I know I have little kids. My little Tori does not like spices, neither do myself. Typically, I don't like spicy foods, but I have a teenager that loves spicy foods. So I like to be able to kind of add different balances of spices so that it's not too spicy for one kid and it's perfect for the other. So I kind of do a blend. Sometimes I'll add more chili powder or less chili powder just to make sure that I can feed everybody in the family and it's not too spicy and it doesn't upset tummies. So just like I said, either comment below or shoot me an email and let me know that you want that quick reference sheet. And I'll be back when we're making that dish. All right, I want to pop in. I am going to be making some rice today. Now I'm using this for two different dishes. So I am using some for my chicken fajita bowls, and I'm using the rest for a different dish with my cabbage rolls. Now, I really love this rice cooker. It is just a 6-cup rice cooker, but what's really great is it actually comes with a steamer basket. So you can literally cook chicken or fish or salmon or anything on top of it as the rice cooks, and then any of the drippings fall through down into the rice. So you can actually make your own, like, almost like a chicken fried rice. So as the rice cooks, the steam comes up, cooks your other food, so you can literally make one single meal in the rice cooker all at the same time. But I'm going to be making some rice now. I'm actually going to be adding some coconut milk in with this, an unsweetened form. So this is going to give kind of more of like a creamy flavor to the rice. I feel like it just has better flavor. Now, I don't typically like just plain white rice. I don't typically just like brown rice, so I use a mix. I actually have some jasmine rice in here as well as brown rice. Now, brown rice does require a little bit more water. So what I'm going to do is I put my rice jar. I actually have this little cup that comes with it. When I use this, I usually use 2 scoops, and then I'll put like 2 1/4 cups of water. So since I have 2 1/2 scoops, since I'm using it for multiple recipes, I'm actually going to be putting 2 1/2 cups of water in here. So if I've got 2 1/2 scoops, I'm going to use 2 1/2 cups of water. So I will go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to turn my rice cooker on so it's ready for later. I'm going to add probably 3 tablespoons of coconut milk. I might go a little bit more than that. I'm going to mix it up first. All right, so when you open a can of coconut milk, typically you're going to have the coconut cream on the top, so that's like super, super, super thick, and then you're going to have more of like a watery liquid below. I usually save the coconut cream. You can actually whip that up into a frosting, and then I just use the kind of watery coconut milk below it to add into the rice. So I've got my rice here with my water. I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of the coconut milk, and then I'm going to stir this up really good. And then I'm going to go ahead, throw my lid on my rice cooker, plug it in. Here we go. And we're going to turn that to cook. So that's going to go ahead and cook. The steamer comes out the top. I always like to turn that away from the cupboards, and we'll let that go. And then I usually take the rest of this. You can actually freeze it into like ice cube trays and have it for other recipes. And like I said, you can take the coconut cream, you can actually, I usually like to actually throw like a square of that into when I cook like beef, and you can actually do a beef with coconut milk or the coconut cream and like a curry sauce, and it's amazing over rice as well. But I'm gonna go ahead for this recipe. I'm gonna take the rest of my can and my coconut cream, package that up for another recipe and get it frozen so I can use it later on. All right, so I have a pound of ground beef in my pan ready to go and get fried up. I will be adding the butternut squash as well as the coconut cream from that can I opened earlier, and then I also have a Indian spice mix, which this is turmeric, cumin, coriander, mustard, and chili powder, and then I also put some pink Himalayan salt and some pepper in here. So I will go ahead, get that meat about halfway browned, and then I'll add the rest of this stuff, let it cook up, and then I will be serving it over that coconut milk enriched rice that's nice and fluffy. A lot of times I like to put some parsley on top of it before I serve it as well, and that will be another meal prep this week. Okay, it might not look pretty, but I promise it's going to taste amazing. So I have the ground beef in here. I went ahead and added the spices, the butternut squash, and the coconut cream from the can I opened earlier. And then what I will do is after this beef is cooked all the way through and not pink in the center, I will serve it over the coconut milk rice I made earlier. Hard to make. Usually what you're going to do is you're going to take mushrooms, onions, as well as ground beef. You're going to go ahead and cook that up with a little bit of tomato sauce and spices, have that ready to go. You have to boil your cabbage so that the leaves can separate. But before you boil your cabbage, you want to take the core of the cabbage out, which literally goes like 2/3 of the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and core this cabbage. Then I have to boil it until it's soft and the leaves are peeling apart. A lot of times what I find is after you core it and boil it, the outer leaves get soft. You can take a couple out, let them kind of cool down before you stuff the leaves. And then when you get like halfway through, the rest aren't steamed enough, so then you'll have to go through, boil them again until those turn soft. So I will go ahead and core this, and then I'll kind of show you what that process looks like after they're softened. With ground beef meal prep. So I have the cabbage leaves are boiled, they've cooled down, I've separated them. What I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to take the ground beef and also some garlic and some mushrooms, fry that up. And then once that's done, I'm going to mix together about a cup of the coconut milk rice I made earlier. And then I'm going to be spooning that into the leaves, putting it in a casserole dish and topping it with tomato sauce. So that'll be ready to go in the oven later this week. And then the other dish I'm going to make is going to be stuffed peppers. Now, I have some sweet peppers that I picked up from the store. So these, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to half them and kind of make them more bite-sized, so it'll have like just a little bit easier for the kids to eat. So I will be cutting these in half. I'm going to put a beef and cheese and garlic mixture, so kind of almost like a hamburger style thing. I'm going to put it inside of the peppers, and then I'm going to melt cheese on top of them. So I will have that. I have some pictures of that once I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this all together. I'm going to make both of those at the same time to save me time so that it's all done at the same time. So I'll pop. Now that we have our meat, mushroom, and rice mixture and tomato sauce all mixed up together, is we're going to take spoonfuls of this, we're going to put it inside of the cabbage leaves, roll it up as best as we can, and then we're going to throw it in a casserole dish. And then when we're done getting as much as we can put together, I usually put any extras on top, and then I put cabbage leaves on top of that so it's nice and insulated and steaming nicely when we cook it. So I'm going to grab my casserole dish. I did put a little bit of tomato sauce in the bottom to help so it doesn't stick. And we are going to take these cabbage rolls. I usually put like kind of a good spoonful or two in the middle. It just depends on how big your cabbage leaf is. And then what you're going to do is kind of roll it up. And you can kind of fold it. I usually like them a little bit bigger and more plump, but you can also do really skinny ones as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take these leaves, and I'm going to take my mixture here. I'm going to put it in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and roll this up. So you've got nice little rolls here. Some of these cabbage leaves are really big and some are a little smaller. It just depends on how you cord your cabbage when you put it together before you boiled it. I usually like to wait till it's cooler just because it's a little bit easier to fold that way. And then I'm going to roll those up nice and tight, just like that. I usually try to aim, I would say probably about 2 for each person, just to make sure that you have plenty of food for everybody. I know they don't look the prettiest, but they taste absolutely amazing. This is probably one of my favorite comfort meals. And I don't get it very often because there's a lot of work required for this. But once you do it once, you're going to crave it all the time. So I'm going to keep going with this, get these filled up, and then we'll check back in once I am done getting these all rolled up together. All right, so I've got 6 cabbage leaves all rolled up here. I put the rest of my mixture on top, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tomato sauce, spoon some on top, and then the rest of my cabbage I'm going to put on top so it's got kind of a covering. And then when I'm ready to cook this, I only need to put it in for maybe 25 minutes or so at 350. It's going to steam up really nice. It's going to smell the house up, which I like the smell. Not everybody likes the smell of cabbage, but like I said, this is one of my favorite comfort foods. Beef meal prep video episode is sweet peppers stuffed with a ground beef and onion and also garlic, and then topped with cheese. We're going to actually melt these in the oven. These are going to be more of like a bite-sized meal. You can absolutely use like stuffed green peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, whatever you want. I just have a kiddo that requested sweet peppers, so we're going to make these more bite-sized for kind of like a more of an hors d'oeuvre style. So you are going to take your peppers. Now, there are seeds just at the very top, so you can actually slice off the top of this. Now, you might have some still left in there. You can just rip those out. And then I've found because they are so small, you can actually slice one side and almost like kind of fold it open a little bit. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take some of that beef mixture with the onions and the garlic, and you're going to go ahead and put these on a baking sheet. I have just a tin foil over mine. I am not a fan of cleaning off cheese that has been melted from baking sheets. So anytime I'm using cheese, I pretty much always put tin foil down. Just easier for cleanup. So you're going to continue doing that until your pan is filled up. Then you're going to cover it with I've got a Colby cheese, but personally, you can use any type of cheese that you really want. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and throw it in the oven, let it bake a little bit, and then we're also going to broil so that the cheese is melted on top for some bite-sized treats. So we'll check in for that.